Start this video off, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever been running in Path of Titans and you just wasn't quite fast enough? You just couldn't escape that thing that was chasing you? Well, no worries, because I am here, and today we are going to be finding out what is the fastest herbivore and carnivore in this game. Yes, I'm doing exactly, well not exactly, but I'm doing something very similar to a video I've already done, where I did, I think it was damage? Yes, it was damage, but today, we are doing speed. We're including mods, we're including aquatics, we're including flyers if there are any, and it's going to be very fun. So, to get this started off with, I'm going to introduce you to the runner-ups, get that joke? For the carnivore side and herbivore side. For the carnivores, we have Compy, look at that little guy. And then, for the herbivores, now, you're gonna die of shock, but out of everything including mods, Struthy runs quicker than them all, but how fast can we make it? How fast can we make these two? Will they go beyond what is possible? I don't know. That's what I want to find out. So, intro out the way, let's get straight into this. Okie dokie, right, let's have a look at what Struthy actually has. Now to get started, this thing's base sprint speed is 1250, so that's the minimum. I want to see how big that number can get. Right, so, let's have a look at what it has. First of all, 5% run speed. That's pretty good, I like that. That's a good subspecies. And then we go to senses, we have escape. Gain a 20% speed boost for 10 seconds. That's 20%, that takes us up to a total of 25. And then we go to brace legs. If we sprint downhill, another 10% speed. Yes, I'm counting this because I really do want to push this to the max. Like I said in the intro, we're including everything. I want to see how big this number gets. So that's already 35%. However, if I go to front limb, we have slipstream, which I don't know if many people actually use this, but it increases your speed, which, you know, it doesn't say how much it does it by, but I checked the curve overrides, and it says 15%. So this is a 15% boost, and you can use it while sprinting, and that means that if a Struthy is behind us, they're gonna get this. So that's another 15%, which takes us up to a 50% speed boost. 50! That's ridiculous. On a Struthy or Mimus, that's just insane. So, you know, once we have all that, I'm just gonna go do some math, calculate the total, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, 1,875. That is how fast this Struthy can make itself alone run. And we are not done. Let me spawn on the next thing, because it's a bit of a unique one. Is Pachy now specifically the David Rosa one. Because this thing can actually increase speed. I just had to check what ability. It's this one, Ready to Fight, which, you know, a lot of yapping at the start and then increases speed by 2.5%, and it can be stacked 2 times. So that's another 5% that Struthy gets. And yeah, I have checked every ability this thing has. That is the only one that increases speed. So that's another 5% we get to add on. And with Pachy the David Rosa one, that takes us up to 1,978 movement speed. That's ridiculous. Next up, we have got Citipati. Now, I didn't really expect this thing to do much, and surprisingly it does more than the Pachy Rhino, because if we go over to voice abilities, and have a look at Scattering Screech, this increases movement speed by 2.5%, but it can stack up to 4 times, which gives us another 10%. So that's pretty nice. You know, I like Citipati for that. It does a good thing. Oh, also, just before I get into this, I made a slight mistake. So, with the additional of the Pachy Rhino, it did only take us up to 1,968. I said 78, my bad. That 10 speed probably makes no difference, but anyway, with Citipati added on, we get up to 2,168. We're past the 2,000 mark. That is ridiculous. And we only have one more thing for the herbivores, and it's a crab. It's a funny little crab, the herbivore. Because everyone loves the herbivore. I did have a look at like as many dinosaurs, nearly every single mod I could, and they either don't give speed buffs or they only do personal ones, so they wouldn't have been too great for this. But the crab is fun because it's like the ramp from the last video I did with this type of stuff. Because the ramp did some funny thing where it could affect herbivores and carnivores. The crab does the same thing. So with Showcase, I don't have any marks, but with Showcase, if you show it a item to a nearby creature, so if I like picked up a rock or something and I showed it to them, they'd get 12% more speed. So that's pretty cool. And the crab takes us up to a total of... The crab takes us up to a... Oh my god. A whopping total of 2,423. 2,423. That is how fast the Struthy will be running. That is ridiculous. Like, I don't even know it. How? But anyway, with that out of the way with, let's go find out how fast a Compy can run. The fastest carnivore. Let's see how fast Compy can get. Alrighty, so to start us off with Compy, its base speed is the exact same as Struthy's. It's 1,250. So that's quite cool. You know, this little thing runs the same speed as a Struthy. However, it already has a lead because its subspecies can give 10% speed. So that's 10% already. None of these senses give speed. However, 10% speed on the hide, that's pretty good. So that means Compy can give itself 20 speed. Not quite up there with Struthy's 50%, but 20 is not bad. With this stuff alone, Compy by itself can take its own speed to 1,500. I nearly said the wrong number, my bad. But 1,500 on this little guy, already, that's not too bad. But can it pull nearly 1,000 more speed with everything else? Maybe. So of course, the next one I'm going to do is another DB mod, Divine Beasts, because, you know, they kind of go together. And that's Zhucheng Tyrannus, before it gets its TLC. Oh, I really wish it would come out sooner. Leave a comment down below if you wish it was here already. And we get this voice buff, which gives 10% movement speed and attack to all party members. So it's only 10%, and it's the only thing it can actually do. However, that does do quite a lot for the Compy, because it takes it to a grand total of... Let me try and do this one in my head. I don't need a calculator. So 10% of 1,500, it takes it to 1,650. Oh, I'm a genius! I'm a genius. So Zhucheng Tyrannus does pretty good there. 1,650. I'm quite happy with that. But how... Oh, that looks so goofy. But, let's see. What more can we possibly do to the Compsognathus? Ocean time. So, we are in the sea as an Ocean Paleon. Now, I know in my last video with the damage, I never included stuff that could swim or fly, or even any modded dino. I wanted to do strictly vanilla. But I thought, since not many stuff does it on vanilla, you know, it's not going to be that entertaining. So, that's out the bag now. We're adding everything. And we have Ocean Paleon for the carnivores. Because it has a voice buff, which gives 15% movement speed for everyone in the group all at once. Which is just ridiculous. Why can this thing do that? I mean, I guess it's slow, but everything. And this thing can group with anything, unless the server has it turned off. So anyway, Ocean Paleon takes us from 1,650 to... Ocean Paleon takes us to 1,897. That's scarily close to Struthy already. But we can go even further. I think we've got 3 more things for the carnivores. One of them's the crab, one of them's a velociraptor, and the other one's Nyctotyrannus, but you'll have to wait for me to get to that one. I'm gonna have to explain Nyctotyrannus as well, because it really doesn't make sense. But anyway, Velociraptor, a simple thing, like Divine Beast's only non-real dinosaur, and it has a voice call which gives a speed buff to everyone in the party, or group, by 10%. So that's pretty good. So that's another 10% added on too. And with that, we get up to 2,086. 2,086, because this little raptor, that passes straight by the 2,000 mark. Okie dokie, on to Nyctotyrannus. Now, I am going to explain this thing a little bit because it doesn't make sense. Right, so, let me just get started. It has a voice buff, and this is Tyrant's Roar. It gives a speed buff, it stacks up to 3 times, like normal. However, in the curve overrides, it says it's a damage buff, but it doesn't add damage, and I know this through playtesting. This does make you faster. I've tested it with friends, I did it on the Dino Night stream. This does make you quicker. It is a speed buff. And it also is 11%, so not 10% like Tyrant's Roar, it's 11%. Because in the curve overrides it says 11% basically. So, because it stacks up to 3, that's a 33% boost that we can add onto this Compy. And with the bonus 33% added, that takes Compy to 2,774. 2,774, and we can still add more to it. We can still add more to this, and, you know, it's with the one and only Lord and Savior, the crab, the hibber. Where is it? There it is. Because the crab, unfortunately, just like Ramp, I said this earlier, it can give its buff to anything, herbivore or carnivore. So that's another 12% onto this Compy. Oh my god. So, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that out of the way, this takes Compy's total run speed, the fastest carnivore in the game, on land. I had to specify that because I think there's one that's quicker, but in-game, on land, fastest carnivore can run at 3,106 speed. That's so quick! T-Rex only runs 800. T-Rex runs that fast. That's ridiculous! If you're like me, and you're wondering, what's the point of all this? You know, how would it actually look to go this fast as the dinosaurs? I want to show you. So, the way that you would do this is you would do /set attr movement speed multiplier, and then you take the total value that I got for Struthy, 2,423, and divide it by its default, so 1,250, which gives you 1.9384. So we do 1.9384, and then we press enter on that, and now our Struthy is going to be that speed. So let's have a little run. Oh my god. This is how fast that Struthy would be going while sprinting. This is ridiculous. Look how fast I'm going on the map. Oh, and the Compy's gonna be way quicker than this. Oh man. Dude, could you imagine like a T-Rex going this fast? You know what, for a little treat, I'll make the T-Rex go as fast as the Compy can. But, oh my god, look at that. It can jump for miles. Oh man. Right, so, let me go spawn on the bit of issue with the legs there. Let me go spawn on the Compy and do the same thing. And then I'll do a T-Rex for the funny. Alright, so, I'm here in Salt Flats, I've done all the commands, and let's see how fast I can cross it. So this is, for a start, the trot speed, and oh my god, look at this sprint speed. If you saw this on a public server, you would instantly think I'm a hacker. Look at the legs! Oh my god, look at that. Oh, see you later, critter. So yeah, this is the maximum speed you can get on a Compy, which I just think is ridiculous that you can realistically in-game get one this quick. On vanilla, by the way, vanilla stats. And some servers buff this thing's speed and stamina, so you know, you better watch out. But then again, those servers tend to not have mix packing. Oh my god. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. This is the T-Rex, by the way. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a comment down below. Give me your opinions. If people like this type of content, I plan on doing more. And yeah, so make sure to like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you feel like it. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. I'm Walkers. Take care. Goodbye.